and welcome to the Don Robbie channel. I'm Abby Summers and I've got a very, very special guest with me today. None other than the Don Robbie himself. We're going to be previewing all the opening fixtures. Well, most of them anyway, because we've got a lot of content coming for you this coming weekend. Let's get straight to it. So kicking us off for the new season is, of course, Brentford v Arsenal. We've got a very biased panellist, of course. Newly promoted Brentford. Arsenal haven't looked that great, in my opinion, through pre-season. Obviously, we saw them lose to Spurs in the Mind
so you
series.
have to get that in.
I had to get that in there. Saw them lose to Spurs in the Mind series on Sunday. And of course, you know, Brentford are no mugs. Newly promoted, new stadium, fans back in that stadium for the very first time. How are you feeling about that game?
A little bit nervous because obviously I was down at their ground on Monday, and it's a nice little stadium. It's compact, 17,000. There'll be 1,750 Arsenal fans, I think, there. But basically, their fans are absolutely buzzing for it. I met a few of them, and they're like, and when you play these, I always say these promoted teams, you want to get them like after Christmas or something like that, when they've had a few games, had maybe a few losses, bit of doubt creeps in. But when they got that first game or their first couple games, they're flying, aren't they? They're thinking to themselves, we've got nothing to lose, because what if we get beaten by Arsenal? Everyone's going to say, well, that was expected anyway. It's like a cup tie. It is literally like a cup tie for them. So it's a very dangerous game for us. And then at the moment with us, the spirit amongst the fans isn't great at the moment, because I feel that the Arsenal fans are very disappointed in what's happened so far in the transfer market. Yeah. You know, we wanted to see a few more players come in, few other players leave. So there's a lot of doubt around Arsenal at the moment. But I still feel though, I think we'll win the game. I think it's going to be a really, really tough game. But I just got a feeling that Arsenal, we had a similar game last season. It was Fulham. First game, and we played really well in that game.
I think it was 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 3-1. But this is a bit different because fans are there. And then that Fulham one, there was no fans. But I just think the experience of Arsenal and the fact that last year, away from home, we were all right.
Yeah, and you had a good end to the season.
Yeah, we had a good end to the season. And away from home, we were good. But at home was where we faltered. But you're right, pre-season ain't been great.
It hasn't been great. And also the thing with Brentford is that, I mean, anyone who's watched the Championship over the past few years anyway will know that Brentford have been in contention. They should have come up arguably last season, and obviously the end of the season they kind of bottled it a bit. But they have got good players. We know that their recruitment is literally second to none. The way that they do it, kind of that Moneyball mindset. Selling Ollie Watkins, selling Ben Rama and other players as well. And they've replaced really, really well. And of course, they've come up. Plus, they've got the fans. Do you not think at all that this could be where Arsenal slip up before they even start? No,
listen, it's a really, really tough game. Really tough game. It's one of those games where you wouldn't be surprised if Brentford won. But I just feel that Arsenal, they've got a bit of experience over Brentford, because it can also... Everybody's been talking only about that, but also you've got to take into consideration they'll be nervous. Yeah. This is their first ever Premier League game in front of their fans. The whole world's watching that. That's the first game that kicks off the Premier League.
Huge game.
It can go two ways, isn't it? It can be like, that gives you such an enormous lift and you just ride a wave. But it can also be like, what if you go a goal down early? Yeah. 2 goals down. What then? You know what I mean? It's one of those, it's like a cup tie. But I just feel that Arsenal, with their experience over the years, they should have enough to get them through this game, despite the fact that they haven't had a great pre-season. But pre-season is pre-season. I've said this a lot over on AFTV, that we've had pre-seasons where we battered Bayern, PSG, all these teams, and we're thinking, yes, and then we still lose.
No, you're right. Look, it's very difficult to judge anything off pre-season. But let's talk about your transfers for a sec, because obviously Ben White, £50 million. We know that there is obviously English tax on that, because Ben White's probably not a 50 mil player. But then again, in this market today, he
£50, 50 million.
50 million. But in this window and in this market, I mean, there's just silly prices that get thrown around for people like that. Today, you're linked with Aaron Ramsdale. How are you feeling about that one?
I'm not over enthusiastic about Ramsdale, but we need a goalkeeper. So I've sort of resigned myself now and said, listen, you know what? Maybe we're all wrong as fans. Maybe Ramsdale could be the answer. I don't know. We just need another goalkeeper in. And also, Ben White, from what I've seen of him so far in pre-season, I've been very impressed. I've liked what I've seen. And, 50 million is a lot of money, but, Tottenham played 46 million for Romero as well. And
They did, yeah.
He's same sort of age, Argentinian, you know what I mean? So maybe the English tax is only about 3 million.
English tax. I would argue that, at least Romero has played Champions League football. He's just, won a cup with Argentina. So, but, we'll get into Tottenham a little bit later. All right, let's move on to a game that we're obviously covering on the Don Robbie channel, which is Manchester United v Leeds, another very saucy tie. Early doors as well, very, very saucy. United strengthened, obviously, Sancho, Varane. I don't think they're done yet. What do you make of United? How do you see them this season?
They're very strong. I mean, I think those two signings that they've made, are very good signing. Varane's quality, absolute quality. I've seen some people say, but he's not the same guy. And listen, he's still only 27.
Yeah.
And he's done everything in the game. I think with his experience and his quality, that's going to help them a lot at the back. And Jadon Sancho's a brilliant player. He's been excellent in the Bundesliga. My only thing with Man United, I said it last year, I'll say it again this year, is the manager
the right guy?
Good enough to get them over the line? Listen, he's a good manager, but is he that elite manager? He's not Klopp, is he? He's not Guardiola. Those guys that can just got that little extra.
The thing is, I think that's just how maybe we as fans perceive it, and maybe I think the media probably do too, but we can't argue with the fact that he has actually improved United, because if you look at their last few, finishing, I mean, last season they were second. No one's running
seat. They didn't win nothing though.
They didn't. They didn't.
See, for a team like Manchester United, they want to. I feel that it's a bit like Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. This year is the crunch year. I know Ollie just signed a new contract, but I feel this is the crunch year for him. He has to win something.
Yeah.
Listen, to win the league is difficult. He's got a challenge for the league. People will say, he finished second last year, he challenged. They didn't.
No, they
didn't challenge for the league last year. The league was won easily by Man City. I think they need to push Man City this year and win something at least for him, for you to be able to justify him still staying in the job, because he has been there a couple of seasons now.
He has. We're looking at like 3-4 seasons now he's been there.
I'm not. I don't dislike him. I don't think he's a bad manager, but I'm not, because he has turned it around in a way. But I'm not convinced that he's the guy that's gonna get that over the line. But
it looks like they're going to keep Pogba as well.
They've got a strong team. They've got even last season, I felt they had a strong team. Now the team's even stronger. They'll probably do some more before the window closes. They got a good chance of winning the league. He could possibly get them over. That's my only doubt with him. But quality of the team, you look at Man United, it's all there.
Yeah.
They got a chance this year.
They could be in with it. It's going to be very difficult to run close to City.
Tough start for them though. I think the only thing is it's at Old Trafford. That helps them. But Leeds, it's a bit like we were talking in Brentford. Those Leeds will be chomping at the bit. We know how they play. Remember their first game when they played against Liverpool last season? They were brilliant, and they're more streetwise now. And Leeds fans hate Man United.
They do. There is that massive rivalry. But Leeds are a very good side. They do concede goals. That is the only downside to Leeds. But the way that Bielsa and the way that they play, they're a fantastic side. I mean, they've been so enjoyable to watch as well. So that should be a really interesting game from a Leeds perspective as well.
That to me is one of the games of the weekend. That's going to be such a good game, because Leeds, they're not going to Old Trafford to defend.
Yeah.
They're going to be on the front foot, and if they shake up United earlier, but then will Leeds suit them, because United have, especially under Ollie, they love the counter-attack.
Yeah.
And they've got those players that can hurt you. So it's going to be, I can't wait for that game. That's going to be a great game.
I know, it's going to be so exciting to have that one on the show as well. And then, of course, we've got Norwich Liverpool, another game we're also covering on Don Robbie. Norwich newly promoted. We know that they come up, they go down, but they had a very good season last year. They kind of stormed the championship. Good players. Obviously, someone who was a pivotal part of their team was Oliver Skip of Spurs. Who's now come back.
Get that in as well, didn't you?
Who's now come back to Spurs, so hopefully we'll be seeing him this season. But Norwich are a good side, aren't they? So Liverpool, we all know what Liverpool can do. They had massive injuries last term, but Virgil's back.
Yeah.
Trent, I think Trent's back. I think he is back.
Is Trent back? I know.
I think
Gomez is back as well.
Gomez is back. Trent's back. You know, they're all going to be back, firing. Surely this kind of has to end in one way.
Yeah. I can't see Norwich. Again, the only thing I'd say, you're catching them teams right at the start of the season, you know, and Norwich, I remember when they came up last time, at the start, they were on fire. I remember Pookie and they were, but I don't know, they've lost Buendia.
It's a big loss.
Yeah, again, they're not signing like loads of, I don't know, I can only see Liverpool. They've got too much quality. I can't see anything other than that. I think Liverpool are going to be looking to come back this season. They've been kind of quiet. Yeah. Not really been saying anything, a bit under the radar, but, you know, they've strengthened. They've got Canute in at the back. I think Liverpool they're going to be up there. I can't see Norwich.
My only thing with Liverpool is the fact that they haven't strengthened. They haven't done anything.
Canute, they haven't really done much, I know that, but they've already though got a very good team. They've got those established, Salah, Mane,
It is
Jota.
It's hard to sign a player that's not going to affect, who's not going to do anything, who's not going to take a Mane or a Firmino or, a Salah out of that side. So is it the case that if you can't improve on those players, just don't sign?
Do you know what? And again, it's the same sort of thing we get sometimes at Arsenal. Sometimes you are right. You don't just go and buy players for the sake of it, but sometimes you need to refresh the place.
Yeah, I agree.
Bring someone else, get a couple of new, fresh faces.
It can go.
Shake
it
the
can
thing
go
up
stale.
a bit. Fergie used to do it brilliantly, didn't he?
It can, yeah, because you only need one or two.
Yeah, one or two players that just shakes it up, and I'm not sure if they've done that. I don't think Liverpool are going to win the league this year, but I do feel they will be. And with Van Dijk coming back. And I said they got Canute and Gomez, they're going to be more solid at the back. So remember, last year, despite their terrible season, they still got into a top four. So
they did.
They're still a formidable team. And
100%. And do you know what? I think that they rode their luck last year, didn't they?
They should never have finished in the top four. No, they shouldn't.
When your goalkeeper scores a goal in the 93rd minute, that luck's on your side. Yeah. Let's just touch on a few other games on Saturday before we move into Sunday. So another standout one, Chelsea-Crystal Palace. Chelsea fresh off of that Champions League win. They're going to be sky high. They've just signed Romelu Lukaku, or about to sign Lukaku. And Crystal Palace, Patrick Vieira is now their new manager. So that should be very interesting. What do you think about that game?
Tough game for Palace, man. Tough game for Palace. Palace have made a load of changes throughout the summer as well. They've got rid of a lot of players like Andros Townsend. These established guys that have done well for them over the years. Hodson's gone. He's always had them well organised. It's going to be really interesting to see what Patrick Vieira does. Obviously, I want him to do well as a Arsenal legend. I would love to see him have a good season for Crystal Palace. But I'll tell you, I feel that's gone under the radar a bit with Palace, right? The amount of changes that have been made and a new manager. Vieira might have a tough season. I feel he might have a tough season, man. You know what I mean? I'm not saying in a relegation fight, I hope not, but it wouldn't surprise me.
It's also implementing a new philosophy, isn't it? When a lot of those players, I know he has shipped out quite a few, but having to come into a club and put your philosophy, when you are a relatively newish manager, and your stamp on a team, it's how they adapt to it, how they perceive it. And obviously, has he brought in who he wants to bring in as well to implement that? I think that we'll have to
I'm really interested to see what his style of play is. And, as I said, I hope he does well. But I think he's got a really tough season ahead, Palace. They got to hit the ground running. When they first game at Stamford Bridge, you know what I mean? That's
one place you don't want to go.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough start for them.
Everton Southampton. Rafa Benitez is now no longer a red of Liverpool. He's now blue of Liverpool.
Loyalty.
Very critical of that amongst Merseyside. And Southampton, we know Southampton are always, a bit of a yo-yo club under Ralph Hasenhüttl anyway. Everton, what do you make for them this season?
Rafa Benitez there, I've spoken to a couple of Everton fans, right? They ain't happy.
Yeah.
They're like, no. I was kind of surprised because I'm thinking they might think, all right, Agent Benitez is coming in, but they're not. They don't want him. He's too closely tied to Liverpool. So again, he's a manager that has to hit the ground running. And again, they ain't really made no inspiring signings or nothing like that. And then, you know, is James Rodriguez's heart in it? And
well,
I don't know,
he's
man.
kind of. I read something the other day. He kind of said that he basically signed because of Ancelotti.
Yeah.
And that Ancelotti's gone. Not what you want to hear.
This star guy, Richarlison, I saw that he may play at the weekend, but he's the Olympics and Copa America.
Yeah.
I mean, he must be knackered.
Yeah.
You know, so
plus 2 basically back-to-back seasons. As well.
So Everton, Rafa Benitez will have them more organised. That's one thing about him. He'll have them more organised and stuff like that. But are Everton fans going to put up with sort of defensive, horrible footballs at times? I know Newcastle fans, they didn't mind it because they were just trying to survive. Everton fans, they had a good season last year, even despite they fell off at the end. The Rafa Benitez thing is a big experiment, man, that could or could not work, but he has to get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Has to, or he's going to be a manager under pressure very, very early. So, and as for Southampton, they're one of my teams that I feel could go down this season.
Yeah, I
really
similar mind.
You know, again, Danny Ings has gone. They ain't really strengthened. They weren't that great last season.
They weren't. They tend to flirt with that relegation drop zone quite a bit, and I think that it's just there's been a few worse teams with them. But that is one to watch.
Remember last season they had a great run. I think it was at the start.
Yes, they did.
I think at one time they was even top of the league, and then they just went.
Yeah.
I'd be not surprised if they're relegated this season.
I expect them to be in that.
Yeah, so I think Everton probably win that game, but Benitez under a lot of pressure. He's under pressure already. He has to do well.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally agree with you. Leicester Wolves. Now, this is very interesting because obviously Leicester, we just saw them win the Community Shield. They had a great season last year and the season before. Both campaigns, they definitely should have had Champions League football and again, fell off at the last hurdle. This kind of, for me, this is like Brendan Rodgers' third time lucky. If he doesn't make it into the Champions League with the squad they've got, I think they're a fantastic side. There has to be questions. If you're there consistently over 2 seasons and you don't make it in at the last hurdle, do they need to look at Brendan Rodgers?
No, I don't think so. You know, I think that's a bit unfair, Abby, right? Because he won the FA Cup last year.
Correct.
Right? And if you look at towards the end of last season, I know some people are saying he bottled it, but look at the injuries they had.
Yeah.
You know, to key players, man. And, you know, Maddison got injured towards the end of the season, just came back before the end of it. Harvey Barnes was out. Justin, who was brilliant at the back, was out. And then even going into this season now, Fofana's out. They spent really well. I think they've been punching above
their weight.
Yeah, I think if he finishes there or thereabouts this season, you know, Champions League as well. I mean, Europa League football as well. They had that to contend with last season as well. That's going to take a lot out of them. Yeah. They just don't have the squad to get over the line. That's a problem with a team like Leicester, that they'll throughout the majority of the season they'll do well. But when it starts coming down towards the end of the season, you need that squad. The rotation and the legs in it.
No, I totally agree with you.
That's why Liverpool got a much better squad. They were able to overtake them.
Yeah.
Because it's not just numbers, it's the quality of the players that you're able to bring in.
Yeah.
They just don't, although they have bought well, you know, Boubakary Samar, Patson Daka, you know, they made some good signings. So
I think that they're one to watch. I really like Leicester from top to bottom of that club. I think they're so well run. I think they deserve probably Champions League just because of how well they have played over the course, especially of the last few seasons. Plus, they're winning things too. On the other hand, we've got Wolves. You know, no more Nuno. Big changes at Wolves. New manager. I can't actually say his last name. Bruno. we're gonna go Bruno Lage. We're gonna do that. Whether or not that's right or wrong, people please correct me. Interesting season because they didn't have a good season particularly last year. It was a little bit, you know, average. Where do Wolves go this season? What are we looking for with them?
That's another team, man. And I'm looking at and I'm like, I don't know what to think. You know, the plus is they got Raul Jimenez back. Yes. So that's a big plus, you know what I mean? But how will he be after that?
Long-term injury.
You know, that's a head injury that kept him out literally. That happened at Arsenal playing them. That was with him and David Luiz and kept him out literally the whole season. What's going to be his state of mind? You know what I mean? You know, he's very brave to come back and I wish him all the best. But we don't know. And they're reliant upon him. Yeah. They haven't really made many signings. It's a new manager. I don't know, man.
There's a lot of new managers.
Yeah, a lot of new managers. And I don't know. I don't even know how to call Wolves this season. I really don't. I'm going to have to wait a few games before I judge them. Apparently, this guy's a bit more attacking than Nuno.
Okay.
But then Nuno had been there for years.
Yeah.
And, all the players have
And we were praising Wolves for so long from when they first came up,
I mean, they're probably right to get rid of Nuno because it went stale at the end. But I don't know, man. I really don't know what to say.
A bit of a mixed bag. I think
and it's not an easy start.
No.
They're playing against Leicester. They just won a Community Shield. You know what I mean? They've got all these players back now. I don't fancy Wolves at all in that game.
No, neither do I. And the last one for Saturday that we've got is Watford, Aston Villa. So Watford, again, one of those yo-yo sides that come up, they come down. Villa, again, another one of my favoured teams. I think they're great. I think they've done good business. Obviously, selling Jack Grealish, that's a massive loss. But then you look at the players that they're bringing in, Danny Ings, Buendia, and I don't think they're done yet.
Remember a team before did something like that?
Yeah.
Sold a player, got a load of money for him, and then bought loads of players in.
It didn't work out quite so well. Not quite so well.
The thing is, right, I feel that Villa, again, I feel their manager, Dean Smith, is under a lot of pressure. Because despite the fact that they've lost Grealish, and they're huge, we all know he was the driving force of that team. He was brilliant. But they had other good players there as well. Yeah. Let's not be wrong. But they bought well.
Yeah.
They've, Bailey, Danny Ings, they made some good job. Buendia, they made some very, very good and intelligent signings. I feel that the fans are going to be looking at it and, the owners are going to be looking and say, all right, Grealish has gone, but we've still given you the tools to do very well. Emi Martinez in goal. So I think they will have a decent season. It's just that Grealish is a big loss, man. The other players they bought in got to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
But I think, if you're a Villa fan, you'd be excited to see the new look Villa, because they make some great signings.
Well, they'll be, of course, gutted that Jack's gone. But it is kind of like a new era for Villa fans because they've had Grealish there through the good, the bad, come up, come down and everything. So it's a new
I'll say the other day, Abbi, right? That's a sad thing about football, really, that money just talks all the time.
It
because
does.
How good would... If they'd have made some of those signings and Grealish, you never know what they could do.
Exactly. But unfortunately, that is why if you've got the money to spend and you've got even if it's a free, like we saw, even with Lionel Messi, if you've got the money that you can just say, here we go, £35 million, it's yours, they'll always come. And that is why, unfortunately, money does talk.
Money talks.
Right, moving on to Sunday, before we get to the main game of Sunday, Newcastle, West Ham.
That's the main game, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. West Ham, again, had a great season last year. They were in contention. They were being talked about Champions League football as well. And, of course, they are in those Europa League spots. What do we think about West Ham?
Interesting to see how they get on this season. I thought they did brilliantly last season. But will they be the same when they kick on?
Yeah. Surely we have to be looking for them to kick on.
You're looking for them to kick on. Again, they haven't made loads of signings. I don't know. You see, this is as well. Last season, full pelt at the Premier League.
Yeah.
This season, Europa League football.
How will
Thursday night, Sunday, Thursday. Have they got the squad to deal with that? I'm not sure they'll have as good a season as they did last year. It's not going to be easy for them. I still think they need to make a couple of decent signings before the end of the transfer window if they're to have a good season, because there's a lot of pressure when you're in
both competitions.
Thursday, you know it. We know
it very, very well. Very, very well.
It's not easy. So big season for West Ham, big season for David Moyes. But I don't think they bought enough to cope with those pressures.
And Newcastle, Steve Bruce still at the wheel?
I think Newcastle, another one of them teams that, I don't think they'll go down, but they'll be flirting with it at times.
For sure.
But they got Willock coming in. They got some good players there.
And he was a great. You know what? That loan spell for them is probably one of the reasons they actually stayed up.
I want Willock to stay at Arsenal, but it is what it is. But I think they'll be one of them. They're going to be a bit yo-yo-ish, but they won't go down. I don't think Newcastle.
Be really interesting to see who does.
They've still got some good players in that team.
Do you know what? I think we've missed Burnley in this whole discussion.
Burnley will stay up. I know. Didn't you say the other day?
I said, Burnley, Brighton. I'm so sorry to Burnley and Brighton fans watching this. We didn't do it on purpose.
You were saying that you think they might go down.
I think this could be the time for Burnley. And this is no disrespect. It's just they play one style of football, and again they flirt a lot with that drop zone. I'm just saying, sometimes something has to give. You know,
Big up Sean Dyche, man. They ain't going down.
Lewis said Brighton, and I think that's outrageous because I think
Brighton. I think Brighton is a shout for them to go down.
Really? See, I don't. If they could score goals,
they weren't that great last season. Like they played some nice football, but they were in relegation trouble at one time.
But if they could score goals, so surely for Brighton, it's now hinging on that. If they can get someone in that can put it in the back of the net, because they create chances.
Yeah, but they haven't, have they? So you know,
it's just scoring goals.
I think they're going to be. I think they'll be down there again, and they've lost Ben White.
Yeah.
You know, I think they're going to be down there again.
Kept hold of Bissouma.
Kept hold of Bissouma, but Bissouma, you know, you're saying need goals as well.
Yeah.
I always played great football under Potter, but lose a lot of games. Yeah. Burnley will be all right, man. They've got a style of playing. They've got a way, no superstars, Sean Dyche, and they just get, you know what I mean, they do what they do. They don't lose many games at home.
No,
what is with them, if you notice with Burnley, yeah, they will lose games. They might lose games at home to like your Man Cities and people like that. Well, that's no shame to that.
But the games where it matters.
But when it's those other games of the teams in and around them, they don't lose many of them at home, and then they'll go and they'll nick a few of them away. And that's how they stay up. And they do it every year, year in, year out. And nobody likes going there. Not everyone knows when you go there.
Preach.
And
Turf Moor is not the best place to go.
What I like about, what I rate with that guy, I don't think he gets respect.
Sean Dyche.
Sean Dyche ain't getting respect. No, look at his players that he's got.
No, look, I totally agree. And this was not me knocking Sean Dyche or Burnley. What I'm just saying is that obviously Sean Dyche and Burnley play a certain way, and it does what it says on the tin. You know, you know exactly what it's going to be year in, year out.
I know you're anti-Burnley, you know.
No, I'm not anti-Burnley. You're going to start a thing on here. They're going to be coming for me, the Burnley fans, just because I don't like the trip to Turf Moor. But for me, I just think maybe sometimes it does have to give. They do, again, they're a side that does dilly-dally around the drop zone. They do. They
do, but they're always, but come they're near the end of the season, they're always far away from it.
True.
They're never like, oh, if we lose this, we could go. They're always, you know what I mean, the escape route is there and then they're gone. You know what I mean? Nah, they'll be all right, man. I think as long as Sean Dyche is there, they're going to be all right. I think, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, one more game on Sunday, and that is, of course, Spurs being Manchester City. Now, there's a lot of talk around this game. Harry Kane saga continues on.
Who'll he be playing for?
He won't. I don't think he'll be playing it at all, to be honest with you.
Don't?
No, I don't think he was expected to play in that first game, to be fair. He came back to Hotspur Way, I think, last Friday. And I think, I genuinely didn't think he'd be playing in that game regardless.
Surely he'd have got to play him.
I didn't think he'd be playing in that game. I think that it's probably not, for any player, if you're linked in, you know, with the speculation that's gone on and all the hoo-ha, I just didn't expect to see him play. Obviously, he came out and he said that, you know, that's not true. He wasn't expected back at training. We don't know who to believe here. I don't know who to believe.
Do you believe it?
No, I don't. But anyway, look, it's a massive game. It's at home. It's at Spurs. So I guess that's one advantage for Spurs. We know exactly what Manchester City do. We know what they can offer, you know, with or without Harry Kane. Of course, they did lose the other day. How do you see this game shaking up?
Number one, I think if Harry Kane don't play, there's going to be loads of... if I was Nuno, I'd at least have him on a bench or something, because there's going to be loads of people...
But there's going to be talk anyway.
What's going on? Is he... you know what I mean? I feel that he kind of... If he's not there, that then puts a little cloud over the game, right? You know what, right? Much as I hate this... I hate the fact of this, right?
Are you going to say something nice?
I think you caught catching Man City at the perfect time.
I agree.
Catch them at the start of the season. You saw them last season. They were terrible at the start of the season.
They were.
Right? They looked terrible against Leicester the other day. I know that was, they made loads of changes. But they're not ready yet. If you look at it, you know what I mean?
They had so many players on, on duty.
There's been no Sterling, no De Bruyne. I think... Yeah. I would have liked to have swapped places with... I'd rather play them first game of the season. You know? I mean, Arsenal, we got them third game. By then, everyone's going to be back.
Yeah.
Harry Kane could be there, whatever, right?
He won't be.
I feel that catching them with the first game of the season at home... am I right? It's new stadiums, sort of like the first time your fans are there for...
Well, we only had... I don't know. We have had City there because we had them...
With fans?
Yeah, well, we had them in the Champions League, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that very special evening.
And you beat them.
Yes. So we did have them that night, and we have had because we had half a season, until March time when Corona happened. Not all with fans. you know. But I think that having everyone back, I just think that it provides a lift to whatever home game that you're at first. Same with the away fans. I mean, obviously away fans are allowed back in as well, but I just think having, you know, all those people back in the stadium, trying to be positive. Of course, the mood could really change very quickly if we go 1-0 down within 10 minutes, which is a very high possibility. But I think that, you know, maybe the energy would be better. But look, there is talk about Harry Kane. It's quiet talk, but there's talk that Harry Kane may even sign a new contract. I think it's a whisper.
I think he might stay.
I think he's going to say, I can't.
I don't know if he signs a new contract, but.
Well, if he signs a new contract, it's just to get X more.
And if he signs a new contract, that would be probably like, I'll stay, but if we don't.
You have to sell me next year.
Yeah, something like that. So.
But I think that's fine.
I don't, because where's he going to go?
Well, that's
the thing I'm thinking, because, you know, unless City cough up the money, that there's nowhere else. You know, Messi's gone to PSG.
But if we think about it, there's just been the one bid in
No
June.
one's got any money this season.
Exactly.
No one's got only City. The only other team that could have bought him with Chelsea. You never sell to them.
Yeah.
They're getting Lukaku.
United went for Sancho.
Yeah, nowhere else for him to go.
So it might be a case that, let's say he does sign a new contract, and we know as Spurs fans, it's not a long contract to stay with Spurs. We know it's just to get, it's probably to add that clause in first and foremost. But also for next season, when we would have sold him anyway, because he would only have had 2 years left, to get as much money as possible. But it could be that he'd be looking to go abroad. Obviously now Barcelona, yes, we know they have big financial.
They ain't got no money, them clubs.
Financial. But what about, well, we could say, what about Real Madrid? You know, we're talking about in another year's time.
I think Real Madrid, they're going to go
Bayern Munich. There's other clubs. You know,
Bayern Munich are not going to pay £130 million. None of the teams in Italy are going to have the money to pay for him. Barcelona won't be able to pay for him. And Real Madrid want Mbappe. I think, you know what I mean, it's kind of now or never for him with that real big move, you know what I mean? I think if he doesn't make that real big move now and the only team I can see, and they need him. When I saw them play against Leicester, they need this stupid thing that Guardiola, I know they won the league last year doing it, false number 9. I don't like it. I think if they had Harry Kane and Grealish, they're going to win the league. So...
But
it wouldn't surprise me if City comes all in for him, especially if they lost that game.
Yeah.
So it might be like
better if they win it.
Yeah, because it might be like, if they win it now, they might think, oh, we don't need him. They lose that game, first game. Say Spurs turn them over a couple. It might be like, you know, well, you know what, we need a striker. These things happen. So
the thing is, and I think we spoke about it last week on a chat on the Don Robbie show, that, you know, there's a big question with Haaland next summer. You know, it's going to be at a reasonable rate for Haaland, 68, 70 million, because of that buyout clause. There's going to be so many teams that want him. When you think there's going to be Chelsea, United, City, Madrid will probably still be hanging around there. Even Barcelona. We say that they have no money, but people find money. You know, people do find money.
Yeah, I guess by that time they would have sold a load of players.
Manchester City have just spent £100 million on Jack Grealish. You do find the money as and when it's needed. So if that's the case, and you've got all those teams vying for Haaland, he can only go to one team. So let's say Harry Kane signs an extension, or let's say he doesn't sign an extension, and we say you can absolutely go next summer for 70 to 100 million, somewhere in that region. City can afford that. Let's say if Haaland picks to go to United, or if he goes to Chelsea, they can find that money, can't they? It's worth hanging on for another year.
But Chelsea won't want him now because they got Lukaku, and I just feel that Haaland, something has told me he's heading to Spain, and it could be Barcelona because they might by that time have got rid of a load of the sort of deadwood that they've got, cleared that wage bill so that they can get him, because they're going to they need a big star now. I mean, they've been hurt by this Messi thing. And if Mbappe, he might stay at PSG. If he don't go PSG, maybe Real Madrid might get him. So it's critical for Kane. He's got to make a big decision now, you know what I mean? You know, does he stay?
I think he stays.
You know, and play in the Conference League.
Who doesn't want to play in the first inaugural season of the Europa Conference League?
Not even I would want to do that.
We wanted it so much that we pushed you out of that spot. You know.
No, listen, Abbi, I don't want to play in that. You know what I mean? But I think it's good for Arsenal that they just got one game a week. We've never really had that. Let them just do that, one game a week, and concentrate on that, because, you know, Conference League, you're on a hide into nothing. Yeah. If you win it,
you get in the Europa League, and everyone wants to be in the Europa League. So we're going to have so many games coming for you this season. And of course, as I said earlier, we're kicking off with United Leeds on Saturday, and then followed by Norwich Liverpool. So stay tuned, and we will see you then.